10 bone-chilling Alaskan small-town horrors revealed, unexplained secrets that will haunt you in the frigid expanse of Alaska, where the sun barely tips the horizon and shadows lengthen into eternity, lay small towns with stories darker than the winter nights. 10 in particular breathe eerie secrets, some so chilling they'll send shivers down your spine. Buried in thick snow and thickening air are whispers of unsolved mysteries and a creeping dread that lingers in the icy winds. What really happened in these isolated places? What horrors lay beneath the surface? They say the Arctic can swallow you whole, but it's the townsfolk and their tales that will haunt your dreams. First up is Coldfoot, once a booming gold mining town, now an eerie ghost town absorbed into the wilderness. It's said that on winter nights, the echoing sounds of pickaxes still clang from the nearby hills, as if the souls of miners still search for their lost fortunes. What's worse? The old diner, once alive with laughter, now creaks and moans as if holding secrets in its walls. Locals swear they hear children's laughter but can't find a single child in sight. Spooky sounds swirl through the bitter air, leaving you on edge, wondering what or who is lurking in the shadows. Then there's the Alaska, where the sea's depths are said to harbor the lost souls of sailors who never returned. Fishermen passing the haunted shores claim to see ghostly figures rising from icy waters, hands outstretched, begging for help. Some have even reported feeling icy hands grasping their ankles, dragging them into the abyss. Would you dare to cast your line into those haunted seas? Or would you run sobbing from the shore? Travel further and you'll find the small town of Nome. It's notorious for its mysterious occurrences, like the night the auroras shone blood red. Or the tales of townsfolk vanishing without a trace, swallowed by the earth or whisked away by the winds. Some claim it's tied to an ancient curse, laid upon the land by shunned spirits. Skeptics laugh, until they realize those who dismiss the warnings often find themselves no longer part of the town's whispers. As you walk through these small towns, you can almost taste the fear in the air, feel the frosty breath of the forgotten spirits against your skin. The hairs on your neck stand tall as chilling realizations take hold. The ghosts of the past are just a breath away, waiting for someone to unveil the truth. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect, but hold on, as you turn the next corner, you'll stumble into the midnight chapel of Talkeetna, where legend says a priest went mad and tore pages from the Bible, leaving behind verses soaked in blood. At the stroke of midnight, some locals claim to hear his anguished cries echoing through the frozen trees. Who was he? What drove him to such madness? Was it the weight of sin or perhaps something more sinister? The cliffs of Eagle River loom ominously, too. Within those bones of rock lie rumors of strange happenings, hikers mysteriously disappearing, whispers in the wind promising fickle fate. Those brave enough to tread the winding paths find themselves hearing vibrant voices calling their name, guiding them into darker territories. Are those lost souls directing or leading hunters to their doom? As night falls, and the air grows thick with chilling tales, you can't help but wonder, is there an unseen force at play, feeding off the fear? Will you discover the truth? Or will the mysteries of these small Alaskan towns churn endlessly as you slip deeper into their haunting grip? The shadows beckon, and your heart pounds louder with each step. The night settled over Talkeetna like a thick fog, wrapping its icy fingers around the town. The chill seeped into every nook and cranny, but it was the eerie stillness that unnerved the townsfolk most. They whispered tales of the lost priest, speculating if he still roamed the midnight chapel, a mere shadow of the devout man he once was. Even the bravest avoided that part of town, where tales of his madness seeped into the fabric of every flickering light. Curiosity hung over Leah like a heavy shroud. She had lived in Talkeetna her entire life, hearing stories of the priestess' downfall since childhood. This night, however, something compelled her to seek the chapel. Perhaps it was the thrill of the unknown or the promise of discovering a truth long buried. Whatever it was, it pushed her forward, one cautious step at a time. As she walked, the wind howled through the trees, sending a shiver down her spine. The beams of her flashlight danced like frantic fireflies, illuminating twisted branches and snow-blasted rocks. The chapel loomed ahead, its silhouette dark against the star-studded sky. It looked as though it had been carved from the earth itself, an ominous structure filled with the weight of despair. Leah hesitated at the entrance, the wooden door creaking eerily as she pushed it open. Inside, shadows flickered and twisted, and her heart raced. This place was drenched in memories. The altar, splintered wood and stained cloth, bore the remnants of his once blazing faith. But it was the air that felt alive, thick and pulsating with a palpable energy. Suddenly, a sharp cry echoed through the chapel, the sound of desperation clawing at her ears. Leah's breath caught in her throat. The voice was familiar yet distant, as if calling from beyond the grave. She turned, scanning her surroundings, but the chapel swallowed any signs of life, leaving behind an unsettled silence. "What is this?" Leah whispered to no one. As if in response, the shadowy corners of the chapel darkened deeper, revealing a tattered journal lying on the altar. With gloved hands shaking, she opened it, revealing frantic scrawls. The priestess' madness poured from the pages, revealing visions of the damned and pleas for salvation. Just as her fingers brushed the pages, the overhead light flickered violently before plunging her into an abyss of darkness. Panic rose within her chest. The cries grew louder, swirling around her, a cacophony of anguish filling the space, pressing in. "Leah!" A voice, desperate and pleading, rang through the chapel. She whirled around, heart pounding, her own name echoing off the cold stone. Without thinking, she bolted towards the door, but the chapel was shifting, a living nightmare where the exit seemed to vanish with every frantic step she took. Cold fingers curled around her wrist, pulling her back. "Help please," the voice begged, now clearer, more urgent. Emboldened by an instinct she couldn't quite understand, Leah turned toward the source of the voice. Flickering shadows revealed the distorted figure of the priest, his eyes hollow, pleading in desperation. In that moment, everything crystallized: the cold, the fear, the call to somehow save him or herself. The energy within the chapel surged, threatening to consume her whole. "Will you help me?" he gasped, and Leah felt a sudden, chilling connection to his pain. Time stood still as she battled internally with anguish and fear. Could she confront the echoes of his madness? Or would she succumb to the very darkness that gripped him? Just before the darkness closed in around her completely, Leah's choice solidified. The truth lay within her grasp. But as she reached out, an unseen force yanked her back, pulling her away into the shadowed corners that promised to swallow her whole. In that moment, it was clear, she might not leave the chapel alive. But maybe, just maybe, the key to the town's secrets rested in facing the unfaceable. What lay ahead loomed ominously, dragging even her unshakable spirit into turmoil. Could she confront not only the priestess' demons but her own soul's torment? With stars dimming overhead and the wind rising in restless howls, she took a deep breath, gathering courage. As the shadows closed in, she felt an electric pull guiding her deeper into the madness. What awaited her next in the chilling depths of Talkeetna? What unspeakable truth would she unleash as the night unfolded? The shadows coiled tighter around Leah, a suffocating cloak of darkness threatening to envelop her completely. Her heart raced, each beat echoing in her ears like a warning drum. The priest's figure flickered, his hollow eyes locking onto hers, desperation carved into his gaunt features. "Help," he rasped again, his voice pulling at something deep within her. "Help, you." She managed, the words barely escaping her lips as terror gripped her. What would helping him mean? Was he already lost, or was there a flicker of hope buried under layers of madness? The moment her resolve wavered, the lights flickered back to life with a startling intensity. They illuminated the dusty interior of the chapel, casting sharp shadows against the walls, revealing haunting images, worn-out relics adorned with grotesque carvings that seemed to shift in her peripheral vision. Without warning, the temperature dropped. Leah could see her breath forming icy clouds in front of her, swirling in the air like spirits rising. An overwhelming fear sank its claws into her, and the specter of the priest seemed to fade, tugging at her sanity as he gestured towards a hidden door in the back that she had never noticed before. Leah! The cry echoed through her mind like thunder, reverberating in the depths of her consciousness. The truth hides there. A mix of dread and intrigue coursed through her. What was behind that door? Was it another layer of the darkness, like the journal? Or was it the salvation she desperately needed? Leah stepped forward, inching cautiously toward the hidden door, her heart pounding in concert with her mounting dread. Each creak of the floorboards beneath her felt like the chapel stirring from a deep slumber, inching closer toward whatever revelation awaited. Just as she reached for the handle, the air thickened with whispers, dozens of voices clamoring, their tones sharp and frantic. "Leave, now, you must not see. It's not for you." She hesitated, panic flaring within her. A tendril of ice wrapped around her throat. Deep down, she understood. The chapel was alive, a creature of desperation and despair. It didn't want her to see whatever horror lay on the other side of that door, but there was also that voice, gentle yet fierce, urging her to confront the darkness. Was this the answer she sought, or was it a trap designed to pull her into the abyss along with the priest? With a shaky breath, Leah pushed down on the cold handle. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow, dark staircase leading downward into shadows thick as molasses. The whispers grew louder, almost drowning out her thoughts. Instinctively, she wanted to scream, to turn and run, but she could feel the electricity of revelation crackling in the air. "I'll find you," she called out, unsure if it was to the priest or something even deeper than that. As Leah descended the stairwell, the light from above faded. The only sound was the soft echo of her breathing, punctuated by her footsteps that seemed so loud in the silence. The smell of damp earth and decay filled her nostrils, an ancient scent that reeked of secrets forgotten and curses long buried. At the bottom of the stairs lay a small stone chamber, its cold walls adorned with cryptic symbols that made her skin crawl. In the center was a pedestal, where a soft glow throbbed beneath a tattered black cloth. Curiosity urged her forward, but dread kept her rooted in place. What lay hidden under that cloth? Was it the truth she sought or the source of her nightmares? A cold draft whispered through the chamber, brushing against her cheek with the touch of a dead hand. She could almost hear the priestess' voice again, clear and urgent. "Leah, you must know." She reached for the fabric, her body trembling with the weight of impending revelation. With one swift motion, she tore it away, and the ground beneath her began to tremble. Suddenly, Leah was thrust into a blinding flash of light, the energy swirling around her, and she was not just standing there anymore, she was falling, plummeting into the dark abyss of Talkeetna's past. Her connection with the priest pulled taut and ready to snap. What awaited her in that swirling chaos? And would the truth ignite more darkness than she could ever imagine? There was no turning back now. The truth was about to surface, and with it, the deepest horrors awakened. Light burst around Leah like an explosion, blinding and tumultuous. Her heart raced, each pulse felt in her throat, tight and anxious. She tumbled through space, the world collapsing and reshaping itself as if the very fabric of reality was unraveling before her. Around her, shadows twisted and danced, whispering secrets too ancient to grasp. A familiar voice, a voice of fear and urgency, cut through the noise. "Find the truth," it shouted, spiraling into the void. Then, silence. She landed hard on a damp and uneven surface, hitting the ground with a jolt that sent a shockwave of pain through her. Leah pushed herself up, breathless, gasping for clarity. What space had she fallen into? It was dark, colder than the chapel above, with a chill that seeped through her bones. Taking a slow, shuddering breath, Leah tried to collect herself. The walls around her shimmered with faded colors, vivid red streaks, deep blacks, and ghostly white, all intertwined in chaotic swirls. Illuminating the room, the same throbbing light pulsed softly from a central point in the distance, like a heartbeat drawing her closer. Each step felt like treading on glass, tentative and laced with fear. She moved towards the glow, her senses heightened. The chamber expanded and twisted like a labyrinth, as if it had a life of its own, cunningly disorienting her every effort. Memories flooded her mind, flickers of the priestess-haunted face, his pleas for help echoing in her psyche. Had she entered into a realm of his making, a reflection of his torment? Or was this the very core of Talkeetna's hidden anguish? As she approached the pulsating light, the air thickened. Within it, dark shapes slithered, intertwined like serpents ready to strike. Leah summoned all her courage. She had sought the truth, hadn't she? But what would the truth reveal? Would it free her from the shadows, or ensnare her further in their grasp? A sudden voice, sharp and malevolent, sliced through her thoughts. "Why did you come here, Leah?" It hissed, dark and echoing like thunder. "You were better off in the light." Panic surged, her heart lurching violently. "Who are you?" she gasped, her voice trembling. The shadows ebbed away from the light, forming a shape of figure, draped in a cloak that seemed to blend into the dark. "I am the keeper of secrets," the figure replied, voice low and serpentine. "You wish to uncover what lies hidden, but curiosity can lead to dreadful things. Are you prepared to face what awaits?" The light flickered, revealing grotesque images dancing across the walls. Visions of the town's past, moments that should have remained buried. Leah's stomach turned as she recognized familiar faces, neighbors turned adversaries, kindness twisted into betrayal. Realization struck her like ice water. The town was alive with its own tapestry of horrors, woven with deceit and sorrow. Each thread was a soul lost to darkness, forgotten in the annals of history. And here she stood, about to dive headfirst into their legacy. "Please, show me," Leah began, but the keeper's laughter echoed through the chamber, cold and breathy, as it began to recede into shadows. "Not all truths are meant to be unearthed, Leah. Shadows have their own tales to tell. Do you dare listen?" The ground trembled beneath her feet again, and Leah fought against the rising tide of darkness, her heart pounding with dread. This was more than a taste of darkness, this was a descent into an unfathomable abyss. Just as she felt herself being pulled into the void, she caught sight of the beating heart of light, a glimmer of truth amid the chaos. It beckoned, a beacon in the dark, promising answers, but at what cost? Would she trade her sanity for the sake of knowledge? As the shadows closed in, wrapping around her once more, Leah's voice rose above the chaos. "I will find the truth." And with that, she was swallowed whole, the light flickering one last time before darkness enveloped her completely. What awaited her now, lost in the depths of the abyss? And would she emerge, driven by the truth, or would the darkness claim her forever? The darkness was thick and cloying, wrapping around Leah like a heavy blanket, squeezing the breath from her lungs. For a moment, she teetered on the edge of despair, the weight of isolation threatening to crush her spirit. But the heartbeat of light flickered in her mind, a fragile flame amid the oncoming storm. "Keep moving forward," she urged herself, ignoring the cacophony of whispers that threatened her resolve. As if responding to her inner mantra, the shadows recoiled just enough to reveal a narrow path. With every step, Leah felt the icy tendrils of fear gnawing at her, but she pressed on, determined to unravel the secrets hidden in this realm of nightmares. Suddenly, the walls of the chamber shifted. Where there had been swirling patterns, the colors began to coalesce into stark scenes that played out like a movie. Leah gasped at the first vision, a familiar street from Talkeetna, but it was warped and twisted. The houses looked like grotesque caricatures of their former selves. Each window was dark, oozing despair like wounds that refused to heal. Then she saw an unexpected figure appearing in the frame. It was the priest, his face twisted with anguish. "Help me, Leah!" he cried, his voice echoing through the chamber. "You must discover the truth before it consumes you." Her heart ached at the sight, and she felt an overwhelming need to save him, to somehow reach through the barrier between their realms. But just as quickly, the images morphed again. This time, they showed flickers of betrayal, friends turning against each other in waves of paranoia. Leah's stomach churned as she watched familiar faces betray one another, each act echoing with laughter that turned to screams. "Stop!" she shouted, shaking her head as if the sight could be brushed away. "Please, I need to see the truth." The keeper of secrets appeared again, its silhouette slithering forth from the undulating shadows. Its eyes glimmered like coals, fierce and unyielding. You plead for truth, but do you understand what that truth carries? The air hummed thick with malevolence. Every revelation costs a piece of what you are. Then take it. Leah cried, desperation giving her voice strength. Take whatever you want, but let me see. The keeper tilted its head, a sinister smile curling at the corners of its mouth. So be it. The air shook again, shuddering with an energy that cracked through the shadowy veil. The walls pulsed, and the chamber erupted in chaos, tumbling into a swirl of darkness and light, each so intertwined that it was impossible to discern one from the other. Rushing past flashes of memories that felt all too personal, Leah felt an acute pain split through her chest, sharp, angry, like shards of glass stabbing deeper into her heart. She stumbled, clutching her chest, gasping for breath as images rushed by, her childhood, her family, the laughter that echoed in the sunlight. All laced with threads of pain she had buried deep, and then a face emerged from the blurriness. Nick, her closest friend, his expression fraught with anguish. His mouth moved as if speaking, but the words were lost in the tempest. Leah strained, desperate to hear him, to understand. What are you trying to tell me? She shouted, but the chaos swallowed her voice, tossing her further into the abyss of uncertainty. The keeper loomed closer, its voice slithering through the air. You are entwined in their fate, your essence, your fear, your truth. Will you take on their burdens, perhaps even their sins? The darkness surged, pulling at her, and she could feel the icy fingers of terror grasping at her soul. Yet somewhere in the depths of her being, an ember of courage blazed defiantly. Not all of their burdens are mine to bear, she shouted back, her voice rising with defiance, echoing against the darkness that in that moment, Leah felt something like clarity, a faint understanding budding in her mind. There was power in truth, but it was also a dangerous game. Would she have the strength to confront the horrors before her? Could she decouple her truth from theirs, or was she trapped in a web spun by their choices? As the chamber began to close in around her, Leah felt her resolve hardening. It was now or never. Show me. She demanded, her heart racing. In response, the ground shook violently, the shadows writhing. An infernal laughter filled the air, and darkness began to coalesce one last time. Or was it merely the beginning of an even darker nightmare? What awaited on the other side of this maelstrom? And would Leah recognize the truth when it finally stood before her? As the chamber convulsed, Leah stumbled forward, spiraling into a vortex of images. Snapshots of shattered moments flashed by, each more horrifying than the last. A blast of icy wind rushed past her, carrying sharp whispers, fragments of conversations warped into menacing taunts that echoed against her skull. She clamped her hands to her ears, but it only intensified. Leah. It's your fault. The voices shrieked, each syllable laced with venom. The keeper of secrets loomed larger, a monstrous figure against the backdrop of chaos. Its laughter, resonating with malice, sent chills racing down her spine. You're almost there, dear Leah. What gift will you give for the final truth? With every ounce of strength, she pressed forward. The air crackled with an electric charge, and just as suddenly, the madness stopped. Leah stood before a mirror, its surface vibrating with an unsettling energy. Her reflection stared back, but it was twisted, eyes blackened, mouth curled into a snarl. Face what you are, the keeper urged, its voice a sibilant hiss. Please, Leah begged, desperation creeping into her voice. I just want to know. Show me my truth. With those words, the glass rippled, fracturing like ice under pressure. And in its shards, visions erupted. Each piece of glass held a story, a life she lived but didn't remember. She saw Nick, the warmth of their friendship, now tainted by secrets and shame. Then came flashes of the priest, his face riddled with guilt in the flickering light. Leah gasped as she witnessed dark figures lurking in the corners of her life, hidden in the shadows of her memories, tangled in the fabric of those she cared about. But why? She screamed, what do you want from me? The keeper stepped into the shards, its silhouette shifting, absorbing the images. Only your acceptance. All those you cherish are intertwined with your existence. To uncover the truth, you must confront your buried fears. The burdens of others are indeed tied to your soul. Leah's heart raced, pounding against her ribcage. Her breaths came quick and sharp. No. I won't take their burdens. They're not mine. Are you so sure? The keeper moved closer, a wicked grin stretching across its shadowy face. How much do you value your innocence? Innocence never lasts in the face of truth. The room trembled again, and Leah felt the ground beneath her shifting. Each heartbeat resonated with a dire urgency. She didn't want the truth if it meant carrying the weight of someone else's sins. Yet deep down, an aching curiosity gnawed at her. What lay beneath the surface? With trembling hands, she reached out toward the shards, glimpses of her past writhing in the glass like serpents. She felt torn between the need for answers and the terror of what those answers could unleash. In that frenzied moment of indecision, the mirror's surface exploded, shattering into 1,000 glinting fragments. Leah was thrown backward into darkness, the keeper's laughter echoing wildly in her ears, then, silence. Thick, heavy darkness enveloped her again, colder this time, almost suffocating. Leah struggled to catch her breath, trembling and disoriented. She could feel a presence nearby. Did you think you could escape? It whispered, drawing closer, lurking just beyond her reach. No. I want to see. Leah cried, but the shadows pulsed around her, nearly swallowing her whole. In the chaos, she thought she heard Nick's voice, muffled yet desperate. Leah. Remember me. Don't forget. The keeper's laughter turned harsh, relentless. Will you remember him? Or let him fade like all the others? As the last echoes of light vanished, Leah found herself standing on the precipice of understanding, yet the truth remained obscured, dangling just out of reach. What decisions would she make now, in the face of those haunting words? Would remembering Nick save her or doom them both? And in the depth of the shadows, something shifted, stirring, waiting for her next move. The darkness tightened around Leah, suffocating and thick, as if it had a mind of its own. She could feel her heart racing, each beat almost painfully loud in the silence that enveloped her. The air was colder now, and panic surged up her throat. She instinctively reached out, her fingers grazing the smooth, cold surface of what seemed like a wall. But it felt wrong, alive with energy that pulsated beneath her trembling touch. Let me go. Leah screamed into the suffocating void, her voice swallowed by the dark. A chill raced across her skin, like icy fingers brushing against her, and she recoiled, her body reacting without thought. Want to leave already? The keeper's voice crooned, sweet like poison. The faint glimmer of its figure flickered on the edge of her vision, always lurking, never quite stepping fully into the light. You thought you could play innocent? It taunted, its words dripping with malice. You are more tangled in this than you realize. But I can show you if you're willing to be honest. The air shifted, and suddenly she was yanked back into a memory, this time of her childhood home, a place filled with colors and laughter. But beneath the cheerful surface were shadows lurking, secrets whispered through the cracks of her family's facade. She saw her mother's face, twisted in worry, glancing nervously at a man Leah barely remembered. Remember the night she cried? The keeper hissed, and Leah felt a rush of confusion. The night secrets were born. Burdens were planted. She could see her younger self, oblivious, playing outside while inside, her mother felt the weight of unspeakable fears. What did you know, Mom? Leah whispered, realization dawning. The keeper laughed, its voice echoing cruelly. It's all connected, Leah. Every choice, every truth you hide, is a thread. And you must unravel it. Will you confront your family's sins and carry them with you, or will you sever the ties? The walls trembled again, and Leah felt rage building deep inside her. I won't carry anyone's burdens. She shouted, trying to drown out the voices around her, but the shadows merely coiled closer, hungry for her pain. Then accept the darkness, the keeper's voice urged, almost sweetly. Embrace the pain and it will set you free. Or resist, and watch everyone you love drift away, forgotten. Leah felt a pang in her chest at those words, igniting her fear anew. The echoes of Nick's voice grew sharper, clearer in the chaos. Leah, don't let them take you. They hysterically urged, pleading for her to find her way back to him. In that moment, Leah screamed, breaking free from the suffocating dark, I refuse. I will not forget. Warmth spread through her chest as she fought back against the shadows, with the fire of determination igniting within her, she focused on Nick. The thought of him broke through the clutches of despair, and her surroundings began to shift again. The darkness receded slightly, revealing glimmers of light, fragments of memories she hadn't locked away, moments of laughter, the warmth of friendship. Is that what you want? The keeper hissed, voice trembling with rage. To embrace your love. But knowledge comes with its own price. Then let me choose. Leah shouted, pushing back against the encroaching shadows. But resistance was a tender thread, fragile and barely grasped. Just as the light threatened to illuminate her heart, the keeper roared, a sound of fury that rippled through the air like an earthquake. Choose wisely, Leah. The truth is a precarious gift, be careful what you wish for. As the darkness swelled again, swirling toward her like a storm, Leah felt something shift within her, a stirring that whispered of forgotten power. She braced for the confrontation, the fight that she had to win. The last flickers of the mirror's light faded, and she found herself standing at another crossroad, each path veiled in shadow yet shimmering with reflections of all she had feared. Would the keeper hand over the truth, or would this new light, this new hope, become a curse? Leah hesitated, her heart pounding. The shadows shifted, entwining her. What she chose next would change everything forever. The shadows pressed in, twisting around Leah like cold smoke, suffocating any sense of hope she held onto. Each flicker of light danced like a distant star, agony mingling with the beckoning warmth. Heart hammering, she faced the crossroads with her decisions swirling unbidden like autumn leaves caught in a storm. Make your choice, the keeper hissed, its breath chilling against the back of her neck. Leah felt shivers race down her spine. It was a trap, she realized. The keeper thrived on fear and doubt. But this time, she wouldn't let it win. Show me. She called out, her voice fierce, resonating through the encroaching darkness. Every instinct warned her of what lay ahead, the secrets and the unknown, but she could almost hear Nick's words in her heart. Trust your strength. A path emerged from the shadows, not merely a choice but a challenge. The darkness parted to reveal significant images suspended in midair like roads leading into the abyss. Faces emerged: her mother, her father, a man with flickering memories she hadn't yet understood. Each face exhibited emotion, fear, regret, and something deeper, rooted in their collective histories. What are they hiding? She whispered, reaching toward the nearest illusion. As her fingers brushed against the image, waves of energy surged through her, igniting long-buried feelings. Touch it, and know the truth, the keeper goaded, its presence radiating with both menace and seduction. Leah's heart sank as she envisioned a world of hurt, where choices were no longer hers alone but carried the weight of generations. Leah hesitated. Was this the moment to know? Would the truth grant her freedom or chains that bound her? Every secret has its price, the keeper crooned, grinning wider, its shadow stretching like sinister fingers across her subconscious. Will you pay it? No. She yelled, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. I refuse to carry your burdens. I choose my own path. In response, the darkness reacted violently, pulling at her essence like a tug-of-war. A piercing scream echoed through the void, a twisted melody of her fears, her family, her past woven into one pressing agony. Leah's breath hitched as the urgency of the moment clawed at her, with newfound conviction, she began to unravel the layers of memory, each revelation wrapping around her heart like a warm embrace. These were her stories, her truths, as much pain as they contained. And as she focused again on Nick, that spark of love reignited something within her, a shield against the darkness. The keeper's laughter warped into a grotesque dissonance, shattering Leah's focus. "No one can save you from yourself." It screeched, a cacophony of echoes ricocheting off her mind. With each note, she felt herself slipping, the edges of her light flickering, but Leah drew on the power inside her, grounding herself in the sensations of love and friendship. "You won't take me." She screamed defiantly into the gathering storm, and the darkness recoiled as if struck. Her voice became a beacon, resonating against the dark walls closing in. Whitish fog began curling away from her feet, allowing a faint path back into the light. The keeper screeched, rage boiling over as if it were a beast cornered. "You think you can escape? You're bound to this place. That fear will always be there." "No. I'm stronger than my fears. I'm not alone." Leah shouted, determination rising. Just when Leah thought she could step forward, the keeper lunged, a shadowy embrace threatening to swallow her again. But as cords of darkness wrapped around her ankles, she felt a warmth envelop her heart, the power of choice, of hope fluxing through her. With her last ounce of strength, Leah summoned everything she had and pushed against the dark. With one final roar, she pulled on the memories that brought joy, the laughter that broke through despair, and she thrust them forward, willing her voice to pierce the darkness. "Let me go." As she screamed, a blinding light erupted from her heart. It surged forward, illuminating everything, scattering the shadows across the ground like dust in a windstorm. But then, just like that, everything ceased. A pulsating silence hung heavy in the air, and the light dimmed to a soft glow. Leah stood, breathless and trembling, surrounded by fragments of her own making. The keeper loomed in the distance, its form wavering in the aftermath, the malevolent smile fading. "Welcome to your new reality, Leah," it whispered ominously, its voice a fading echo underscoring the enormity of her choice. The glow flickered, revealing two paths, once more the familiar haunt of her childhood and the unknown depth stretching into an abyss. A shiver ran through her. What awaited her on the other side? Would it be answers, or would it lead into a deeper darkness? Leah paused, the weight of her choice pressing down. She had fought to lose herself in the darkness, but what now lay ahead? Leah's heartbeat thundered in her ears. The light was fading, the shadows pressing in again, but she couldn't let them envelop her. The paths before her were split by trepidation, one leading back to the familiar echoes of her childhood, the other a spiraling descent into endless mystery. Her gaze flickered to her childhood path, a vast, haunted landscape. So many memories lay scattered like fallen leaves, warm ones of laughter and hugs intertwining with chilling moments of abandonment and sorrow. It would be easy to retreat into that comfort. Easy, but would it truly be safe? Choosing the past means confronting what you've run from, Leah, a voice whispered, threading through the thick air. The keeper's presence loomed, a dark pulse. She took a breath, gathering courage. And choosing the unknown. Ah, it is a tempting allure, isn't it? The keeper grinned, its teeth sharp against the night. But remember, stepping into the void means confronting terrors you've never imagined. The weight of your choices will grow heavy, the truth sharper than any knife. Leah steeled herself. She felt the chill of its warning seep into her bones, yet still, the unknown tinged with possibility called out like an irresistible siren. What if there's hope there? She challenged, thinking of Nick's words, the bond they shared. Hope. How quaint. The keeper chuckled darkly. But what if it's merely the glittering facade of despair? Every step into the uncertainty might plummet you deeper into downfall. The atmosphere thickened as doubt clawed at her heart. She could almost feel the weight of her ancestors' choices resting upon her shoulders. It was a terrifying legacy, each decision had rippling consequences. What if she stumbled? What if she fell into darkness and lost herself forever? Suddenly, the air buzzed, and fragments of her past flickered again, born anew a montage of faces, memories twisted into an implosion of emotions, sheer joy quickly followed by incandescent rage. "Stop!" she roared, clutching her head. "This isn't fair." The keeper's laughter rose, wrapping around her like chains. "Ah, but fair and unfair have no meaning here. You hold the power, yet relinquish it so easily." With a lurch, Leah took a resolute step toward the abyss, ignoring the gnawing trepidation. She swayed, almost turning back, but she couldn't betray the spark ignited within her. The glimmer of possibility shimmered brighter. She had to know what lay ahead, had to conquer the deep to find herself. As she stepped into the uncharted, her body trembled with the thrill and terror. The shadows encircled her, elongating and twisting, nearly gripping her like phantom hands. The stench of decay and warmth wafted forth, a mix of death and survival. It collided with her senses, dizzying and intoxicating. Suddenly, she was engulfed in impenetrable darkness. A muffled silence descended with it, pressing down, compressing her thoughts until they were whispers. She sensed the keeper close by, its breath ghostly against her skin. "Foolish girl," it hissed. "You think you're brave, yet fear is your closest companion. Can you hear that?" She listened, the silence thick, palpable. There it was, a subtle heartbeat, resonating like a second pulse in the darkness. "Is that me?" she murmured, glancing down to find no solid ground, just swirling shadows. "No, dear Leah. It is the echo of this place. Welcome to the depths of your fears." The moment her words hung in the air like a shroud, she imagined hands reaching out from the void. Struggling, she pushed back, seeking to unveil the swirling chaos. Eyes darted, searching for that glow, that beacon of hope. "I am not afraid," she shouted, but something deep inside her quaked. The heartbeat pulsed louder, a relentless rhythm that throbbed within her chest, mixing with her own. The shadows vibrated as whispers filled her ears, scratching at her confidence. "They are here," the keeper taunted. "The shadows of their secrets, alive in your fear. Will you face them? Or will you flee?" Leah clenched her fists, breath coming quick, pulse racing. Even in the heart of uncertainty, she didn't want to hide anymore. Would she face the shadows, pierce the veil, and unravel the truths they guarded? And yet, the darkness stirred around her, a tangled mass, whispering. A prickle ran down her spine as she prepared to plunge into the unknown depths, daring to unveil what she had kept buried all her life. But a sudden thought chilled her. What if the shadows were waiting to consume her whole? Just then, a figure flickered within the depths, a silhouette against the swirling dark. Leah inhaled sharply, caught between curiosity and dread. Who or what resided in this void, and what secrets awaited her? The pulse quickened as she braced herself for the confrontation. Was this the moment when she would finally reclaim her power, or was it the beginning of her end? The darkness tugged at Leah, a living entity hungry to pull her deeper into its void. She yearned to fight back, to push through, but the swirl of shadows filled her with dread. Still, she could hear Nick's voice, faint but persistent. "You can do this, Leah. Don't forget who you are." It sent a spark of determination racing through her. "Show me what lies beneath," she called out, eyes scanning the blackness. Her heart thudded like a drum, each beat resonating with the weight of countless memories, the laughter, the betrayal, the secrets. They melded together like a haunting melody urging her to step forward. The haunting figures began to materialize, outlines of those who had once haunted her dreams. Faces twisted in sorrow and regret, they circled around her, their eyes pleading. "Face us," they whispered, their voices a chorus of desire and despair. Leah felt an icy grip steady around her heart, yet she willed herself to remain. "You won't take me down. Not without a fight." As soon as she declared it, light flickered dimly in the air ahead of her, illuminating the path which twisted deeper into the shadows. The keeper manifested, a monstrous figure of darkness, laughing cruelly. "Face your fears if you dare. But remember, Leah, knowledge carries a price. Are you willing to pay? I can't let fear dictate my choices anymore, she shouted, forcing her way forward. Each step felt like a challenge, a tug-of-war between her lingering doubt and the burgeoning strength within her. As she ventured deeper, a sharp chill enveloped her. The heartbeat thudded louder, and she consciously began to unravel her past, the layers peeling back like dried paint. Memories came rushing forth, her childhood laughter, her connections with Nick, and even the shadows of her family that she had tried to forget. Each memory manifested before her, capturing moments of joy and pain, intertwining them into the grand tapestry of her life. A sudden wail pierced the silence, a melancholic sound stunning Leah into place. It was familiar, it pulled at her heartstrings violently. The shadows shimmered, revealing a vision: the priest, unnaturally tormented, a reflection of his own anguish. You must confront it, Leah. You have the power to change this fate. Trapped in a whirlwind of torment and connection, Leah stepped forward, heart pounding with reconnecting determination. I'm ready. Just show me how. The chamber threatened to collapse again as memories flooded like a tidal wave, visions of betrayal, fractured relationships, hidden pains. Why did you leave me? A ghostly voice whispered her mother's, filled with anguish. Because I was afraid. The words rushed from Leah's lips, each syllable breaking a barrier she had long held. I was scared of facing the truth. The keeper laughed, a twisted harmony of delight and malice. Your truth will not free you, Leah. It will drown you. No. She cried, anger surging. I will not let fear control me any longer. I accept the truth. As her declaration hung heavy in the air, the very fabric of the chamber shifted, clarity breaking through the shadows. In that declaration, the chilling grip of despair began to pull back. Tendrils of light entwined with darkness, illuminating the anguish and joy alike, as they swept away the shrouds of denial she had lived under for too long. Remember, Leah, the keeper lingered ominously, its form fading with each step toward the light. Knowledge is power, but power can dismantle you. Embrace it wisely. I will, Leah replied, and the air around her glimmered as the shadows receded. A sense of safety enveloped her, her connection with Nick felt stronger now. The darkness wasn't her enemy, it was part of her journey. With each breath, Leah felt more herself, untying the knots that had held her captive. She turned, looking at the path behind. The images of her family, her past, all remained, but now they felt lighter, understood. A warmth blossomed within, igniting hope. I won't forget, she promised herself, and as the last tendrils of darkness ebbed away, Leah found herself back in the chapel, the air alive with echoes of a new dawn. The sun peeked through the windows, shining light onto the cracked floors. The weight of despair had lifted, transforming into new understanding. Outside, the familiar calls of Talkeetna resonated, the shadows of forgotten secrets were vanquished. Leah stepped onto the snowy ground, heart beating wildly with the memories happy and dark alike. As she went, the town woke, shadows retreating, the warmth of hope spread through her. And when she thought of Nick, the smile on her lips widened, knowing they'd face the stories together. This was her truth, a mosaic of fear and light, of shadows and beginnings. The battle had led her here, and in every heartbeat, Leah understood the importance of connection, the strength of choices, and above all, courage to embrace it all. As the snow began to fall gently, she whispered, "Thank you," to the town, to the shadows, to the memories. It was a farewell steeped in understanding, weighed down by choices made, and yet, her heart hummed with hope for a brighter tomorrow. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss any of the incredible tales coming next. Smash that like button now to help feed the algorithm and bring these stories to life. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories. The conclusion is just the beginning. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this epic conclusion. Your support means the world.